Aloha, I'm Kellie Nakahara, and here are today's top Hawaii headlines from the editors at the Honolulu Star-Advertiser. Also, huge mahalo to Long Drugs Hawaii for sponsoring the show. Head on over to your neighborhood Long Drugs for all your shopping needs. Honolulu's updated rail project recovery plan has received approval from the Federal Transit Administration. Mayor Rick Mangiardi announced the development at a press conference today. The original plan from 2012 envisions a 20-mile, 21-station route that started in East Kapolei and ended at Ala Moana Center. A revised plan submitted by the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation in June trimmed 2 stations and more than a mile of track. Instead of ending at Ala Moana Center, the 18.7-mile route will now terminate at the Civic Center station in Kaka'ako. With FTA approval, HART is now eligible to receive $744 million in federal funding under the full funding grant agreement. HART will receive $125 million when the agreement is amended and an additional $250 million when a contract is awarded for the final stretch of track and Civic Center station. The rail project has not received federal funding since 2017. Hurricane Ian made landfall today in South Carolina after tearing across Florida earlier this week. Hours after weakening to a tropical storm while crossing the Florida peninsula, Ian regained strength last night as it traveled over the Atlantic. The storm center came ashore near Georgetown, packing 85-mile-an-hour winds. Ian tore up piers along South Carolina's coast, dumped rain across much of the state, and filled neighborhoods with seawater. It dropped to a post-tropical cyclone with winds of 70 miles per hour. At least 17 people have been confirmed dead in the U.S., but that number is expected to increase. The storm slammed into Florida on Wednesday as a powerful Category 4 hurricane. It flooded areas on both of the peninsula's coast, destroyed beachfront buildings, and left nearly 2.7 million people without power. Russia has officially annexed parts of occupied Ukraine in a move Kyiv and the West have characterized as an illegal land grab. President Vladimir Putin signed treaties today to bring the Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhzhia regions under Russian control. In a speech, Putin referenced Russia's willingness to use nuclear weapons to protect the newly annexed areas. He also rallied against the West and accused the U.S. and its allies of seeking Russia's downfall. The U.S. responded by sanctioning more than 1,000 people and firms connected to Russia's invasion. The European Union said it won't recognize the illegal referendums. Meanwhile, Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky submitted an accelerated application to join NATO. Whether the bid for membership will be accepted remains unclear, as it would likely lead to an all-out conflict between Russia and the West. A 5-year-old girl and a 71-year-old woman were seriously injured today when their vehicle crashed into a Kaimuki home. The vehicle collided with a chain-link fence and steps leading to the front door of a house at the intersection of Harding and 3rd Avenues at about 7:20 this morning. Personnel from the Honolulu Fire Department and Emergency Medical Services responded to the scene. When they arrived, firefighters helped the woman and child out of the vehicle. EMS said the woman sustained multiple injuries and was taken to the hospital in serious condition. The girl was also taken to the hospital in serious condition. No further information about what caused the crash was immediately available. Wall Street had another dismal day as worries about a possible recession and rising bond yields put a squeeze on the market. September saw the S&P 500's worst month skid since the COVID-19 pandemic crashed global markets in March 2020. The index ended the month down 9.3% to cap off a 3rd straight quarter of losses. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dipped 1.7% and the Nasdaq clocked 1.5%. Stocks of smaller companies were also hit. The Russell 2000 slid 0.6% to finish the month down 9.7%. Treasury yields are also putting a pressure on the market. The yield on the 10-year Treasury rose to 3.81%, and the 2-year Treasury's yield rose 4.23%. Today's sell-off comes a week after the Federal Reserve raised interest rates by another 0.75 of a point. The Fed is expected to hike rates by at least another point by early 2023 as it tries to cool the worst inflation America has seen in 4 decades. For more on these stories and all the latest headlines, subscribe to the Honolulu Star-Advertiser. Visit Hawaii's top source for breaking news online at staradvertiser.com and download the Star-Advertiser mobile app. Mahalo, have a great day, and we'll see you right back here next week.